We're a species that's always on the move. We travel for work, for fun, to see family. But what turns a simple trip into the massive global phenomenon we call migration? What makes someone pack up everything they own and start over somewhere completely new? In this explainer, we're going to dig into the why, the how, and the incredible impact of these journeys that literally shape our world.
All right, so let's get right into it. To really wrap our heads around migration, we first have to be crystal clear on what we're actually talking about, because it's so much more than just a trip, it's a complete transformation. Okay, so look at this. On one hand, you've got mobility. That's pretty much a catch-all for any kind of human movement. But migration, that's specific. We're talking about a permanent, or at the very least, a really long-term change in where you live. So while all migration is definitely a form of mobility, your daily commute to work, yeah, that doesn't count.
Which, of course, brings us to the billion-dollar question, why? Why do people make this huge life-altering decision to move? Well, geographers have a really elegant and pretty simple way to explain this whole complex choice.
And here it is. It all boils down to two things: push factors and pull factors. Think of it like the carrots and sticks of human movement. Push factors are the negative things, the sticks, that are literally driving people away from home. And pull factors? Those are the carrots, the positive things that are attracting them, pulling them toward a new destination. Every single migration story you'll ever hear is just a unique balance of these two powerful forces.
So let's talk about some of those push factors. And we're not talking about minor inconveniences here. These are often severe, sometimes life-threatening conditions. We're talking about things like war, famine, extreme poverty, or political persecution. And, a huge one that's growing every year is natural disasters, which includes the impacts of climate change, like deserts turning to dust or sea levels rising. These are the kinds of things that can make leaving feel like the only option.
But then, you've got the other side of the coin, the pull factors. This is the promise of a new destination. It's the lure of better job opportunities, the freedom to practice your religion or say what you believe without fear. It's the pull of safety and stability, getting a better education for your kids, or sometimes, it's just that incredibly powerful desire to reunite with family.
Okay, so we've got the why people move, but what about the how? It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all situation. The journey itself can look very different, creating all these distinct patterns of movement around the world.
So the most basic difference really comes down to scale. You've got internal migration, which is just moving around inside a single country. The classic example is that rural to urban shift, people moving from the countryside to the city for work. Then there's international migration. That's a whole different ballgame. Now you're crossing national borders, which brings in a whole new layer of complexity with passports, laws, and completely new cultures.
And migration isn't always one giant leap. A lot of the time, it's a more gradual process, something we call step migration. A family might first move from their farm to a small village close by. Then, a few years later, maybe they'll move from that village to a bigger regional town. And then finally, they make the move to a major city. Each step is a calculated move up that ladder of opportunity.
Then there's the amazing power of social networks in what's called chain migration. This is when migrants from one specific town follow their friends, their family, their neighbors to the same destination. The first people to get there act like an anchor, sending back information and offering support. And in our world today, technology just puts this on steroids. Social media can create these chains faster than ever. It's literally migration built on community.
And here's the thing. This constant movement of people, it doesn't happen in a bubble. It creates these huge ripple effects that completely reshape societies, changing both the places people leave and the places they arrive.
This table gives a really great balanced look at it all. Economically, migrants often fill important jobs and start businesses. They also send money home. We call that remittances, which can be a huge economic boost for their home country. But that country might also experience a brain drain, losing its skilled workers. Culturally, you get this amazing spread of new foods, music, and ideas. Politically, migration shapes everything from diversity policies to, yes, some very heated debates over immigration quotas and national identity.
All right, to bring it all home, let's lock in a couple of the most important and most often confused terms in this whole discussion. Getting these right is absolutely key.
First up, emigration. This is the act of leaving your home country. And here's the easiest way to burn this into your brain forever. E is for exit. You emigrate from a place. Simple as that.
And the other side of that exact same coin is immigration. This is the act of coming into a new country to live. And the mnemonic is just as easy. I is for in. You immigrate to a new place. So a single person is an immigrant from their old country and an immigrant to their new one.
So how do we measure the overall effect on a country's population? We use a term called net migration. As you can see, it's really just simple math. You take the total number of immigrants coming in, let's say 500,000, and you subtract the number of immigrants going out, say 200,000. The result is a net migration of plus 300,000. It's just a quick snapshot of whether a country is gaining or losing population through this process.
So from the push and pull factors that kickstart these incredible journeys to the complex ways it reshapes our economies and cultures, human migration is one of the fundamental forces that has defined our past and is actively shaping our future. So I guess the question to leave you with is this. Look around. How is this global story playing out right where you live? How is migration shaping the future of your community?